I know that sometimes my personality is not the most likable, right?
Says who?
And so you run into the thing where it's like, okay, I know that this guy may not like me, this guy may not like me, so they may not show up. But this guy, he likes me, but he's way over here. You don't even play. You hit it. You send out the call for help,
And you just wait.
and you be surprised who actually shows
Right,
up. They
right.
show up no matter what, because despite whether they like you or they don't like you, they don't want to see you get hurt. They
No.
don't want to see something happen to
Right.
you, or anything like that. And the same concept is present when you're in those situations.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the biggest best friend. Like I've been having conversations with a guy who we've known each other for maybe a year, but it wasn't until recently it just happened. We happened to have some really deep conversations together.
Yeah.
And it's not it's just one of the things where you know just because you don't have the hey, we've been friends for 17 years, I could talk to you. It could be whoever.
Right.
You can get help wherever. Nobody wants to see you struggle. They don't want to see you fall, and that's
Right.
what we've got to get past. Is just because you're asking for help does not mean you're weak. It just means, hey, I can't do this on my own.
It means that right now the battle you're fighting might be winning.
Right. Right.
And instead of letting that battle win, hit the button. Let us come and back you up
Right.
so that we can laugh and joke about it later.
Right.
And look, I'll be the first one to tell you. I've told Mike offline several things or several times that I've been in a dark boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've talked about it before. The very first time that I even began to see you as somebody that I could trust with my struggles. And I know that we've even said that there's sometimes I don't tell you the things that are going on because I like to process it myself before I reach out. It helps to have somebody that you can trust to unload that baggage on, and they're not there to make fun of you. It's to help carry you through it. And I can tell you, of the serious things that I brought to Mike, nothing has ever come back to blow up in my face.
Right.
We laugh, we joke. There's countless things that I've done that were stupid that Mike has definitely been like, you're stupid. This is what, no. And sometimes I like to argue with Mike just to argue with Mike. It happens a lot at work, especially over our jobs. I like to argue with him. But it's because I like to see him get frustrated and get mad at me. But when you find that friend that no matter what comes out of my mouth in that particular moment, that's never going to get brought up again. I might get a text 2-3 days later, you good? And that's it. It's never something that's readdressed unless I bring it up again.
Right.
And that's hitting the button. That's calling for help to just say, I got to get this out. And last night proved to me that sometimes I don't even need you to give me advice. I didn't need my best friend to tell me, it's going to be okay, or that's just life, suck it up. I didn't need any of that. I just needed her to hear me talk and say, this is why I am where I am right now, and I'm just ready to be done.
Right.
And that's the battle that most of us are fighting and feel like we're losing because you're just ready to be done. And I think that's where that episode we did with I Just Need a Win, that's where you're like, I just need one of these things to come off my plate. I just need something to work out in my favor, whether it's I thought I needed a new tire and I didn't, or any small victory. But to bring us back, I really just want people to start to realize or understand that the thoughts you have, whether it's I want to be this heroic person in a moment, or it's time to check out, you're not the only one that's ever had those thoughts.
Right.
And we're out here to have that conversation with you and have conversations about it, because if we don't start normalizing having those deep conversations or at talking about topics that are, for lack of better terms, kind of risque or not the social norm, we're going to continue to lose people at the ridiculously climbing rates that they have
Right.
been.
Right.
The
Well, so it's if I can interrupt a little bit, you got this idea, or it's a true story or statement. It's a true statement, but it's kind of watered down in my opinion because they address checking out, that way you don't
Right.
have to edit it again.
Thank you.
They address checking out as being a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Right.
Right. And while that's true, right, I think it gives a misconception that what we run into a lot of times where, hey, when you are, you know, standing over, or you get the phone call, hey, so and so, decided, he lost. When you get that phone call and you're like, well, what was it? Because we all do it,
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's
I
happened.
wanna know why they
I know
did
with
it.
us at least half a dozen times.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years. And so you get that phone call and you're like, all right, well, what was it? Was it, his was it his girlfriend left him, or was it his wife cheated on him? Could he not pay his bills?
Right. Was he losing the house? Yeah.
And a lot of times, I know we've run into it where it was always something where you're like, that's it.
Right.
That's all. His girl, like your guy in the military, it's his girlfriend broke up with him. Oh, dating for 2 weeks, and you're gonna let that happen?
Right.
And what we miss is it's not just that one. That's not the only incident
That's just
weighing
the
on that dude.
catalyst. That's just the
That
cherry.
was the for lack of a better term, the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
It's a culmination of
Right.
everything that's led up to that moment, and to just finally say, I'm done. I'm not doing it again.
Right.
Um,
Because you don't know. You don't know what the pile was. You don't know if that was
Right.
like the 10th failed relationship, or
Right.
you come to the thought process that, oh, maybe I'm just meant to be alone, or whatever. So it's no, 100% agree with you. We have
Right.
no idea what the mountain was made of.
Because I mean, we have been through, I know the scenes that we've shared together, I say, not really shared together, but we've just been on together.
Right.
I mean, I've responded to, and to show how big of a group this covers, is I responded to everything from teenagers all the way up to retirees.
Right.
Who have just decided, I can't do this anymore.
Right. The
You know,
war's over.
and they've made that decision, and you can't come back from it. And so now you're sitting there and you're trying your best to comfort a grieving family. And I'll tell you right now, it's in the same sense that if you go to a funeral, the it could be your grandma who's 95 years old.
Right, right.
She could pass. Everybody's still heartbroken.
Right.
There's nothing that I can say, that when I show up is going to make you feel better.
Right.
Absolutely nothing. Like we say, hey, give you my condolences, or sorry for your loss, and that's about it. We don't know. I don't know what a condolence is, but anyway.
We've had that conversation.
Yeah, we've had that conversation. So it's there's nothing you can say. Well, when that person decides to call it a day, and they end it themselves, the family still has that grieving process, but there is so much worse, right? And that's what I had a young boy. His dad was one of the first ones that I ever worked.
Right.
And I remember the boy, his question to his mom, who mom and dad had split up, and he decided, hey, I'm done. The question of the boy was, well, did he not love me enough? Was I not enough?
Right.
And I don't know how you answer that question.
No. Right.
I don't know how you take and you try to give some type of peace to that kid, because I don't know. Like I just don't know what to do there. And so I think if somebody could have just pulled him to the side, that would make an impact in that guy's life, obviously, because he'd still be here, but also the relationship with his son. Now, how's the son going to go through life now?
Right.
And so we look at, it's a temporary solution or permanent solution to a temporary problem, but it creates so many more. And when you make that decision, you don't have to deal with it, but there's so many more that you're passing on a life of heartache after that.
Right.
Whether it be parents or brothers or sisters or kids, and we know it, there are some people who are legit. They don't have family. They've got friends. They've got somebody who's going to have
Right.
to deal with it.
But this goes back to our communications episodes, where it's like, you've got to start taking the effort to find people with flashlights.
Right.
To find somebody who can come in your dark time. You're not making yourself a burden on other people. And that's something that I've noticed a lot of the circumstances we get into. It is them feeling like the moment they offload or bring up the struggles that they're having, they feel like you're a burden to somebody else. And I can speak from experience. You feel like if I bring this up or I tell somebody what's going on, well, now I'm just a burden to them. The reality is there's an exchange that's going on. You become a voice to them, and they become a voice to you. You're opening a door that's two-way, where you can go to them on those days where it's, hey, you got a minute? I just need to unload this right quick.
Right.
That door stays open so that when they need a minute, they can come back to you, and now the two of you can share an experience that you both have had.
Right.
You've had those dark intrusive thoughts. And while I understand the concepts that are broadcast out now about checking out about the temporary permanent solution to temporary problem, and nobody thinks about after you're gone what you're doing to everybody else. Well, in fairness, when that thought comes across your mind and you're ready to follow
right,
through,
you're focused on just you.
right, you don't care. You're stuck on number one, because my problems are gone. I'm gone. I don't have to feel this pain.
Right.
I don't have to worry about how everybody else is hurt. And everybody knows that if you follow through with it, yeah, all your weight is gone, but every single person around you is now torn because it's, what could I have done different? Is it my fault? I know spouses, that's the number one question I get from most spouses. What did I do? Why did he or she want to leave me? The one that broke my heart was the 16-year-old that I had, and he didn't follow through. It was a call for, and when I got there and I'm talking to this kid, and I'd interacted with him before for other things. He wasn't even a troubled kid. He was a good kid. Mom had left an abusive marriage, and they were still working out the legalities of being able to go see dad because he was good to the kids. He was just bad to mom. And mom's a struggling single mother. She's got 3 jobs at the time, and a 16-year-old son and 2 very young little girls. They were probably, I'd say, 8 and 4 maybe. Sweet little girls. And I remember getting there, and mom is panicked. She's like, he's saying he's going to end it. He's going to check out, blah, blah, blah. He's in his bedroom.
Right.
And in my head, I'm thinking, why are you leaving him alone in a bedroom? Like, kid just said he wants to check out, and why would we leave him alone in a room full of things he could check out with? So I walk into the room, and here he is. He's just a young kid, and I was angry that day. I was mad at everything because everything that could go wrong at work was bad. I just left 2 really bad calls, and I'm not in the mood for BS. And look, cops are human. We have those days. And I remember going in there, and I'm like, hey, man, what? Because I'm thinking as an adult man, what the hell could be going on in a 16-year-old kid's life to make him have these thoughts? And it's a selfish way of thinking. I'm not even gonna upscale myself. That I was being very selfish in that time frame. And he looks at me and he goes, man, I love my dad, but he hurt my mom. And I'm here with my mom in a new house, in a new school. I don't fit in. I'm not going to go into the scopes of that, but he's like, I don't fit in, and mom's working 3 jobs, so now I'm taking care of my sisters. I'm basically being dad to my little sisters. I've got school I'm failing. I've got this I'm doing. And everybody's expecting me to be this man. And so I remember telling him, I said, okay, I'm going to give you some advice I never got. I said, number 1, welcome to manhood, because this is life. This is what's expected of us. It's not fair. I don't like it. I don't want to do it every day, but this is manhood. This is where we are. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about this.
Yeah, those questions you have right now are going to stay with you the rest of your life.
I said, and I was like, forever and a day until the last breath you take, you're going to do things for other people that you're going to realize you have no choice. You have to step into that role and be there. I said, number one, what you're doing is admirable because you're a 16-year-old kid. The other kids that are at school making fun of you or doing whatever, they don't have this struggle. They don't have this problem. And if they do, they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to be smart enough to say, I need help, like you did. I said, number two, you're going to give me a hug because I can see you're breaking down. You don't know me from Adam, and you're bawling your eyes out. And I know as a 16-year-old kid, you feel weak. So you're going to give me a hug. And when we were done, I was like, look, you're going to get in this ambulance. They're going to take you to the hospital. We're going to get you checked out. I said, your mom is going to get the number to the police station. And when you get out, they're going to call me. And I remember that was 4 hours later. I'm getting off work, and I get the call on my phone that, hey, we let them know you're getting off work, blah, blah. I was like, no. Keep me on the clock. I drove right back over to the house. I sat down with the kid for another hour and a half. I was like, hey, man, I work in this area. You need something, you call. I will come over here. I'm not your dad. I don't want to be your dad. I got enough kids. But if you feel like this again, you call. I will come out here anytime you need me to come out here, and I'll sit with you. I will hang out. We'll do what we got to do. Because you're a 16-year-old kid, you got no male guidance. You got nobody holding you, by the shoulder and being like, hey, bro, this is going to suck.
Right. So let me Monday morning quarterback for a second. So you got the kid. He's got all this that he lays out in front of you.
We literally said at the beginning of this, we're not going to Monday night quarterback.
We're going Monday morning quarterback this one. So you've got he lays all this out, and we didn't discuss this ahead of time. You didn't tell me that story.
No.
This is 100% just going down the rabbit hole. Why didn't you tell him to suck it up and be a man?
Because that's the shittiest answer you can get. That is the worst answer you can get.
And that's kind of where I knew that was going to go.
Yeah.
But it's inside every adult is a child.
Oh yeah.
Or inside every grown man is a child. My wife, I don't think she's
Hands
got a child bone
down.
in her body. She's missing no fun.
Right.
But all guys like just being able to be a kid.
Yeah.
And that's because I think our brain stops developing as guys
right.
at like age 16.
Fact.
After that, hey, we've got it. It is what we might learn a task or a trade or something like that. But as far as mental comprehension and all that other stuff, I think it stops at 16.
I'm a Delta Force operator. You put a Nerf gun in my hands.
Right. So in the same way that, like, hey, you're not going to tell, and I don't think a single listener will be like, you need to tell that kid he needs to suck it up and, grow a pair and all this other stuff. Why would you tell that to your friends? Why would we tell that to another guy who's struggling? You know? And that is the message that gets put, across all this, across social media is, suck it up, stop being a wimp,
right.
You need to, seize the day, big dog, and all this other crap.
Right.
Well, that's not going to help out. That doesn't alleviate anything. That doesn't, that's not the solution.
Right.
And so I think that if we approach this topic the same way we would as in your case, an officer with a teenager who's struggling the same thing. If you approach it the exact same way, I think it'll get a lot more effectiveness to come forward.
Yeah. The totality of it is there are circumstances in your life where you've got to suck it up and drive on.
Right.
There are things that you don't have a choice.
Right.
I've been in battlefields where it's like you got the guy crying in the middle of a firefight. It's his first firefight. He's a young 19-year-old kid.
Right.
That is not the moment. You need to suck it up. We've got to live. So you've got to fight. That's that moment.
But when it's quiet.
When we're done, we're sitting in bed at, getting ready to go to sleep, in the middle of a war zone or you're here, now. This isn't the time to suck it up and drive on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we get it. Life's going to go on. With or without you. Life's going to go on. And there's mornings you got to get up and you've got to suck it up, put your socks and your boots on and go to work.
Right.
But this is not the topic that you just need to suck it up and drive on. Because this is the topic that's going to make or break you or make you check out and lose the war. You've got to stop and smell the roses, as you said earlier. Stupid flowers. You don't remember?
It was outside. It wasn't on the podcast.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure we were
None of the
connecting
listeners
dots.
knew what you were talking about. Great job.
You did. You got to stop, and we've got to start having these conversations. And as dark as this topic was, we've tried to keep it semi-light so that it isn't that heavy. But in reality, we're talking about death. We're talking about checking out, and we're tired of the phone calls. So and so checked out. We're tired of asking ourselves, what can we do different? We're tired of asking ourselves, well, what was wrong? You know, he never said anything. He never, reached out, because we're men and we don't want to reach out. We don't want people to think we're weak. We don't
Right.
want people to think we're cowards or we're struggling. We want the persona that everything's going great and all our bills are paid and our kids are happy and our significant other is happy to be around us. And the reality is, it's not the case. Sometimes you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, which I still don't understand that saying. Sometimes you've got to put off the electric bill to get milk, and especially with the way prices are going these days. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to tell your friend, I need some time. It's okay to tell your boss, I need a day. I'm mentally exhausted from everything going on, and I'm just at the end of my rope. I need a day to rebuild myself. I need a conversation to take the weight of the world off my back, because everybody has a world on their back. Everybody's weight's different, but it hits the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really where this episode was going, and geared towards those fleeting thoughts. And we're getting tired of saying goodbye, my friend. With that note,
We're going to end this episode, guys. We want to say thank y'all for taking a moment and watching it. I hope that this helps out. I do ask that, hey, if you didn't really care for it, shoot us an email at coffeeandthebull at yahoo.com.
yep.
But it also, even if it didn't help you out, send it to your friends, because you don't know what they're going through. Hit that share button.
Correct.
Do all the podcast stuff. Like, subscribe, all, whatever.
Follow, share,
Yeah.
all of those things.
Do all those, because that does help gauge our effectiveness. We keep track of every single episode when we
Yep.
come in. We update all of our numbers and everything so that we can follow that. But guys, this is not something that we don't get paid for this. This
Not
is
at
just
all.
us putting our lives out there in an effort that hopefully it'll make somebody it'll help out in one way or another.
And I want you guys to know that, like, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify. You'll find us on Apple Music as well as iHeartRadio. Go in and subscribe. The more that we get subscriptions to our podcast, the more we can broadcast the message out to reach people who, even though you may not be in the boat that we're talking about, they may
Right.
be in the boat. You may not even know them at all, but your numbers help us gain that ability to get out there. So get out there, hit the subscribe button like Mike was talking about. That's the significance of this, is not our notoriety. That's not what we're going for. We're trying to help other people. That's our aim. That's our goal, is to help people so that we can get out there and not have as much as we're going through. Statistically speaking, males checking out is a steadily increasing number, and that is our goal, is to curb that number as best we can, in a way that is not being done currently by the professional market, by the social media advertising and marketing. So like Mike was saying, like, follow, subscribe, and share. Shoot us that email, coffeeandthebull@yahoo.com. Let us know what you think. We would love to hear from people. Even if it's just, hey, you guys are stupid. We would love to hear back from you guys. All right?
So for now, toodaloo.
Stupid.